Hey everyone, it's Aldo from GEARUP here out of Ysleta Middle School, and today we're going to go over some biological concepts. So the biological concept we're going to go over today is actually diversification of life. So this is a really complex and deep topic that I can honestly go on talking about for hours, but today we're just going to scratch the surface. I really hope this sparks an interest in some of you in biology, as there's many career paths you can choose if you decide to go down this field. For example, you can be doctor, nurses, or even scientists. So let's get started, and I hope you enjoy.
To start off real quick, let's go over what diversification of life even means. The diversity of life can also be called biological diversity. This can be defined as the variety of life on Earth. So, this can include all life you can think of that we have on Earth. For example, different plants, animals, and even the ones you can't see, like microorganisms. Biological diversity is always changing. It is increased by changes in genetics and reduced by events like extinction. Alright, now that we know what biological diversity is, let's go over how scientists classify all these different types of organisms. Let's start off by listing them. In total, there are 6. We have archaebacteria, eubacteria, fungi, protista, plants, and animals. First up is archaebacteria, or archaea. They are single-celled and the oldest living organisms. So these are microorganisms and they can actually survive in really harsh conditions. For example, really high temperatures. Next up, we have eubacteria. They are also single-celled organisms and they make up most of the bacteria in the world. So think about the bacteria that helps make your yogurt. Next up are fungi, or fungus as we know them. And a good example of this are mushrooms. They are multi-celled and thought to be plants, but the only thing is that they cannot make their own food like plants. Protista are single-celled but are more complex than bacteria. Plants are multi-celled and complex. They can create their own food through the process of photosynthesis, which is them taking in sunlight and making their own energy source that keeps them alive. Animals are complex multi-celled organisms. They range from fish to elephants. All animals are heterotrophs. This means that they eat since they cannot produce their own food, and meaning that they eat other organisms such as plants or other animals. And a good example of an animal is you or me or your dog. Now that we have some idea of how diverse life is, let's look at some historical examples of when diversity has increased or decreased. An example of increased biodiversity would be the Galapagos Islands. Due to its different habitat zones, many different species emerged due to them adapting to different zones. So you would have different types of birds because they had to adapt to a different sort of zone in that island. So many different species arose in these islands. An example of diversity decreasing would be, as we said before, extinction, and a famous example of that is the extinction of the flightless bird, the dodo. With the species of bird going extinct in its native habitat, it decreased the biodiversity of that ecosystem. So, that was a quick video on diversification of life. As I said before, there is so much more on this topic, and if you found it interesting, feel free to look it up. It will further help you prepare for more advanced bio classes as well as potential bio classes in college. I hope this video was helpful to you, and if you need any additional help with your science homework or any other homework, make sure to visit tutor.com, where there are many online tutors ready to help you. Thank you.